everyone. Today I wanted to talk to you about toddler feeding, specifically the plates and feeding tools that I've been using with my son. My son is 3 years old. He's been getting pretty good at feeding. I mean, he's a picky eater, but at least if he has something to eat that he likes to eat, he would definitely be able to feed himself. In our house, we, kind of separate our utensils and feeding tools into anything that's either hot or cold. Like let's just say for bowls, anything that we feed him that is hot, like let's just say pasta dishes, white rice that we just cooked and it's actually still pretty hot. We don't want to be putting it onto anything that's plastic because plastic, even though they say that it's BPA free, it's okay to put hot food on it, I still feel uncomfortable putting anything hot with plastic, especially if you use it day in and day out. It starts to break down to plastic and it's actually not that great to be eating off of plastic. So when we're eating any kind of hot food that is like, let's just say a bowl of rice, some noodles, and maybe some pasta, usually we use bowls like a metal bowl, like stainless steel bowl. This one I basically just got it from H Mart. I think it's like $7. It's a small little bowl. They have two sizes. One, it's like a little bit smaller in diameter, but it's taller. This one is actually a little bit more shallow, but it's wider. So it's actually easier for them to kind of like move things around, scoop things around. Because, a toddler, they don't really eat that much. But they do need like a wider surface space for food to cool down, maybe stir it around so that, move it around so that they could like scoop up whatever that they wanted to scoop up from the bowl. The good thing about this is that obviously it's stainless steel. I'm not afraid to put like steamy, hot rice into this and then, top it off with, some toppings and, whatever things that I want him to eat that is hot. I could just put it into this bowl. I stir it around a little bit with a spoon and wait a little bit, maybe blow on it a little bit before I give it to him. And nowadays I know that if I give him a bowl of food and I say hot, hot, he knows that, he needs to blow it. And he needs to test the temperature of the food before he put it into his mouth. But the thing about these is that, other than it's stainless steel, it actually has these two little ears that they could just kind of like lift it. Maybe when they're finished, they would actually give me the bowl like this. Another good thing about this bowl is that at the bottom there's actually I think it's rubber, like a rubber lip. I don't know what you call it. So once you put it on the table, it wouldn't move. So toddlers, their attention span, it's not very long, especially my son. When he's eating, he actually likes to watch TV. So sometimes he's playing with toys, sometimes he's moving around. So if this is something that doesn't kind of like stick to the table, he would be just moving around and his elbow would go into it and it would just all be on the floor. So that's a few things that I really like about these bowls. So I have two. Always buy, if it's something that you like, and I would usually buy one. Like, so this is the first one that I bought from H Mart, and I know that it worked for him, so I went back and buy another color. Obviously, they could be moody sometimes, so some days he might like blue, sometimes he might like yellow or some other colors. You never know, what mood they're in. Always good to have like one or two, like have spares in your cabinet. So anything that we feed him that is cold, like cereal, whatever things that it's not heated up. I have these bowls that I got from, I think, one of the place that sells Pirates Tupperware in Long Island. It's like an outlet. But I think you could probably find these little bowls in a lot of places like Walmart's. These, I primarily use them for fruits. Anything that I cut up, like a big bowl of fruits for him, or maybe sometimes ice cream. Anything cereal. This is the to-go are, every single time when he's eating cereal, this is mainly the bowl, because it could put a lot of milk in it, and I like to top it off with milk because my son doesn't like to drink milk unless he is eating cereals and I'm forcing him to finish the milk afterwards. So if I have more milk in here, I could force him to drink more milk. That's why I have to use a bigger bowl. So in our household, we have like three. I'm not really too crazy about the sharp edges because sometimes if I'm feeding him, I like to put the bowl like right below his chin, and sometimes he moves around and I don't really like the sharp edges, but it's really not too sharp, quite honestly. But there are, like the Moo that I found has pretty good, non-sharp edges. And these edges that comes out also he can use it as a handle. So if he needed to hold the bowl, there's something for him to hold on to. So we really like these kind of bowls a lot for, cereal, fruits, and whatnot. For anything that you need to kind of like maybe a little liquidy that you need to really scoop up the last drop, like ice cream, yogurts, oatmeals, I like a silicone bowl. Anything like these silicone bowl, the first thing is that obviously it doesn't move. Anything with liquid, I hope that it doesn't move. Because I don't like dry cereal. I could deal with, like, if you have a bowl of milk pour onto the wood floor, I would not be happy. So these are actually pretty good in terms of, you could put hot stuff in it. So if you have soup, you could use it. It's pretty safe. This is silicone, very, good, great silicone. And when you put this on a surface, it would not move either. So it's kind of like the other bowl that I have. It's, And one thing that's very good about silicone is that if you have a spoon, scooping the last drop of it out, especially those yogurts, sometimes it's very hard. This would have no problem. You could have like the very last drop scooped up, and you wouldn't waste any food. So this has been a pretty. I only have one of this, but it has been one of our to-go for many different like yogurt. Oatmeals and stuff like that. You could also, since it's silicone, food grade silicone, if you have a little bit of food, like one portion of food that you wanted to just put into a steamer and steam it, you could do that. Like just put maybe very shallow water in like a saucepan. Once it's boiled, you just basically sit this in like a little bit of water, maybe like up to here, and then just steam like maybe some vegetables or leftovers, and you could basically just steam it here and put it on the table and let him eat it once it's cool. So I actually do really, really recommend this bowl. In terms of utensils, we've actually been through quite a lot of utensils, like plastic forks and spoons, a lot of the baby feeding stuff that I could get from, like, let's just say Target. I pretty much have everything. But so far for my son, there's two favorites that he has. The first one is a set of, I think, XOXO, a pair of this forks and spoons. The handle is actually quite thick and ergonomics. So kids, they kind of like to just do this. They don't know how to use it like this yet. So they kind of just hold it like like a knife. So when he kind of hold it, since it's a little bent down here, he doesn't have to actually angle it so much to actually get his food or spoon his food up. Whereas compared to, let's just say, if you have something that's straight, you would actually have to have a steeper angle to go down and scoop the food up. And plus the handle, obviously, it's actually quite thick. So if your toddlers or if your kid is basically just starting to, help feed himself, or you're training them to feed themselves, or sometimes they just love, even if they can't, they just love to do it themselves. These handles are actually pretty thick and ergonomics to a point that it's actually very easy for even smaller hands. I think my son started these at around 1.5 at most. We've had like at least 3 sets of these. Another thing about these, this pair or this set of forks and spoon is that the the forks and spoon are actually pretty good sizes. Even though when he was initially starting to use these, I think about 1.5, it is actually big enough for him to get some decent amount of food into his mouth, and not too big that he couldn't even put it into his mouth to eat. So that's one of the better size that I could find for, at least for my son. Right now he's 3, so he has like no issue sometimes even using some adult spoons, but these are still his go-to. It's pretty, like the spoon is pretty concave, so is the fork. So if you needed like to scoop something up, it actually have a decent amount, or the right amount, I should say, that he should be putting into his mouth. I think that's pretty good. A pair of these, not too expensive. I don't remember how much, but it wasn't too expensive. I found it on Amazon. So right now I think we have, actually before this, we have another set that's similar to this. But then since one of the thing is that it's not too concave, so if you use a spoon to scoop in some soup, it's pretty much just 2 drop. It's not like a little spoonful for toddler size. So that's one of the reason why we retired the other set very soon and got these. So we have like 3 sets of these right now. There are times that my toddler son could, he likes to kind of use what adults use. So let's just say if we are using metal forks and spoons, sometimes he's like, I want yours. I don't want mine, I want yours. And same as food. My food could, and his food could be the exact same thing, and he liked to eat off of my bowl. And then after he finished my bowl, then I have to finish his bowl. They just like to do what you do, to mimic what you do, to kind of feel like they are like an adult like you. So when he feels like that, sometimes I would give him like small, tiny little metal spoons and forks. The fork's not really, because it is, even though it's small, it is quite sharp. So when he's using the tiny little fork here, it needs to be supervised. I have to be like right next to him, and at the same time, hopefully he wouldn't stab me with it. But the spoon, he liked it quite a lot. Like when he likes to use like metal spoon, this is the only one that we use. It's small enough for him to hold. It's quite sturdy. So you do kind of, I don't know if they feel, but like you do kind of feel like it's a fine dining feeling. And the spoon itself, it's pretty narrow. So it's even for like younger babies and toddlers, if you have a baby that's still kind of on like puree food, this could be a pretty decent spoon for them because it's narrow. So you could, for most babies, you could put it into their mouth with no problem. Obviously, if you're using, if your baby is young, like mine was, I probably put like half a spoon of pureed and then feed it to him. But this is one of the ones that he likes, and it feels like an adult. Another thing that we find is very useful in our household, and it's not something that the baby or the toddler would use, is a pair of scissors. These, every single time we eat out, especially at home, we once in a while we use this. If we can just like separate or break down some of the food, especially meat, into smaller portions with a fork, we would go for this, depending on what food it is. Sometimes, even stuff like pizza, hot dogs, that you have to, because it's round, you do have to cut it. So I'm not really one to, use the knife and fork. I just basically take this out and then just cut it into little pieces for them. And every single time when we go out to eat, this is a must, because sometimes we don't really know what we're eating and whether it's just something that we really like to have, because bigger pieces of food, I'm not going to be sitting there to shred the food into little pieces for him. So this is one of the quickest and fastest way to break it down into bite size, so that we could just scoop it into his plate. The one that I have is actually quite durable, although it has some tea stain on it right now. It's a ceramic scissor, and we've had it since he was probably 1 a little over 1. So now he's like 3 years old. It's almost 2 years that we've had this. There is no rusting or anything, probably because it is ceramic. It's very, very sharp, and it comes with a cover or shaft, I guess. It clicks in place, so I mean, unless he really got to it, without me looking, and open it and start playing with it, it is relatively safe. I usually just keep it in a diaper bag, in like a Ziploc bag, along with a set of utensils like that, and we would probably just go out to a restaurant with these, and it has been instrumental in feeding my kid. So that's get us to the last thing that I wanted to go over, which is cups. My son does not like using bottles or sippy cups. He has one water bottle that he's okay with, and it's just hard for us to wash. We kind of use water bottles when he's going to daycare, when he is when we're out and about, or maybe in a car, so that we could use sippy bottles or these water bottles so that it doesn't spill. But at home, I try to not use bottles that much, especially at dinner time, and have him use cups. And he likes drinking out of cups, I think, more than drinking out of the water bottles that he has for some reason. So we have mainly two types of cups at home. One is the plastic cups. This one, it's actually pretty good. It's not that tall, so he doesn't really have to really tilt it a lot to get, because I usually don't fill it up. I fill it up to maybe at most a half. Now his hand is pretty stable, so I fill it up to probably a half, 1/2 of this with liquid or juice or whatever that he's drinking. But when he was younger, I fill it up to maybe just a 1/4, so that when he's taking his cup to drink, he's not gonna just move around and spill everywhere. So these kind of cups, when they are a little bit more wider, but still not too big for a kid's small little hands to hold. He doesn't really need to tilt it too much to get to the liquid, so he kind of likes this. He actually went to Target with me that day, and he said he likes this, and he picked it out. So I make him use it every single time he drinks water to get my money's worth. And again, these are for colder drinks like juice, water, etc. Obviously, don't put any ice in an open cup for your toddler, because you never know how big those pieces of ice are. Even though when you put it into the cup, it might be big pieces. By the time they get to kind of drink it, it might melt a little bit. You don't want him choking. So the only way that my son would be drinking any icy water or drinks or anything would be with either a sippy cup or his water bottle. No open cups with ice. The other cup is basically a set with the bowl that I have from H Mart. So I got these, a set from H Mart. This is one of the cups that we use if he's drinking soup. So instead of putting broth type of soup, not really thick chicken noodle soup, but if he has a broth type of soup, which we have probably once every week or maybe once every 2 weeks, we drink a lot of the soup, like chicken soup. This is something that you could put hot soup in it, no problem, because it's stainless steel. It's very easy to clean off, and it has a little handle so that if he wants to hold it with one hand, he could. And since I could possibly put something that's a little hot in here. My son, he's very sensitive to any kind of temperature. Even though if it's just warm to the touch, he would say, he would be it's hot. It takes him probably 2 months to teach him the word warm. And it's okay to drink warm. It's not okay to drink hot. He got the concept now. He's 3, but if it's a little warm, sometimes my son, he doesn't like to hold on to anything that's warm. I think because kids in general, they are a little bit warmer. So if you have this little handle here, they don't really have to touch anything that's around here that might give off some heat. But if he wants to, he could really still hold it with two hands. Again, it's a small little cup. I wish it is a little bit bigger, but it serves the purpose. It also has that rubber rim at the bottom so that when you are putting especially liquid on the table, when he's moving around, at least there would be, like, sometimes they just like to just grab things and push things, and if you just push it with a little bit, unless you push it really hard, you just push it a little bit, it's not gonna just tip over that easily, just because of that rubber rim at the bottom. So I kind of, like, depending on what he's drinking, this is one of the cups that we really like when we feed him any kind of warm soup or broth. Another thing that I find that just like ice, any kind of soup that I give him in this kind of cup, open cup, I need to make sure that there is no I don't know, debris in it. So let's just say if you have chicken soup, make sure that there's no small pieces of chicken that they're drinking along with the soup, because I find that they would not be, their mouth, their muscle might not be able to process all these things, and they would just, take everything in and try to swallow it, and then it could go down the wrong pipe and start to cough and stuff like that. Hopefully they don't choke. So when I give him any liquid that's an open cup, I try to make sure that there's no debris in it, no ice, no little pieces of something in the soup. Make sure it's just clear broth, and we're good to go. So that's basically those winners that we have at the house for feeding my toddler son ever since he was like 1, which is 2 years ago. For us, these are true and tried products, and I probably would see, if these breaks, I probably would still buy more, even if he could be a little bit older in the future, because it's very useful. I think even up to like 4 or 5, they would still be able to use these because it is decent size, and it's good for lunch boxes if you go to school, kindergarten, preschool. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoy some of the products that I've showed you that has been working for our household for my son. And if you have any comments, or if you have any favorites that you have, let me know, and I'll be sure to check it out. Thank you very much. Bye bye.